Oh, wait, we're doing it on StreamYard. I don't know if that works.
I don't think it works. I don't think it works on StreamYard.
Oh, no. Bam, 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 bam.
God, that's such a shame. I honestly, I was thinking that there was a chance that I could hear it because we were doing it remote. But, wow, what a miss.
I know, that sucks. Well, I'm just going to have to do the air horn the entire time then.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only South Beach Scoots. What's up, dude?
I got one question for you, pal.
Yes.
Do you think the AC is better in Miami or in Milan?
Or Milan. I don't know. It's there's probably more. I don't even know. Like, I don't know a whole lot about AC, if there's like varieties of it or not, if it's just quality. But I would imagine if
they don't use AC that much in Europe, if I am correct about that. But
I have no idea. Well, I know they don't actually use AC. In Australia, they don't use it. It's fucking nuts. It's hot as shit down there. No one has air conditioning.
Yeah, some people have the nose for it. You know, you just have a nose for where the AC is. So
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
If where there's a will, there's a way, and somebody figured it out and figured out exactly where it was. Apparently,
yeah, nice job. But I mean, I wonder if we're going to catch like a cease and desist, because I'm not going to stop making AC jokes the entire season.
I simply just can't stop making the jokes. So. And also, if this is going to be, which it looks like it's setting up for this to be a sticking point this season, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to have serious conversations about it? I've got enough of that shit going on with the Valley. I don't need to have serious conversations about this stuff when it comes to Miami. Miami is a less serious show, to the point where I have respect for pretty much everybody on the show. I don't believe the things that they say. I don't have to back anybody. But when these people, and really, I think that this season is going to be kind of like Larsa, Julia centric, with like, what are you talking about? But I have respect for them.
Yeah, I respect the game, I guess. I'm still confused by Julia.
Julia is very confusing.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But Larsa is in mid-season form already. She didn't skip a beat.
Yeah, I respect the shit out of her game. It's so good. Like,
I'm glad you do.
Yeah. You don't respect it? No respect.
It just irritates me, man. It's just frustrating to watch, because you know me. My biggest irritant, if you will, is a lack of logic. Like, if I can't apply logic to something, it pisses me off. Like, if I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I can't apply logic to how she moves. So it just irritates me. I can't help it. Like, I know it's good for the show. Sense. I know it's like, that's what she does. And she's, if nothing else, she's very consistent.
Yeah.
But it irritates me.
Yeah, I don't know. The conversation that they had in I'm going to call it a Sprinter van because it's a housewife show.
That's what
the conversation they had in the Sprinter van was so fucking funny. And it's the type of shit that really only Larsa can pull. And everyone's like, there she goes again. All right, guess we're just doing this. And she is not going to take accountability for it. It's great.
Never. She didn't even take accountability for blowing up Gertie's spot last year and leaking the cancer thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she still hasn't apologized for that. So if she can't apologize for that, there's no apology in her. She doesn't have those words. I'm sorry is not in her lexicon.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I will say, it's off to a great start. And I knew it would be. You know, I don't doubt the ladies in Miami. They know what they're doing. It's a consistently great show. And the ratings are so low. Like 200,000 for the premiere. That doesn't make sense, guys. If you're not watching this show, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what your problem is.
There's some rating manipulations going on with these shows, and it's across pretty much all shows that are available on any streaming platform, and Peacock comes into play. They're convincing us that the Valley, in spite of what it is, has way higher ratings this year than it did last year, which I just don't believe, because we saw that in the beginning of the season. They said that it dropped off by 50%. Now they're trying to claim that it's up 7% from last year. It doesn't make any sense. I used to play the ratings game. I used to be the correspondent when it comes to ratings, because simply just because I followed a Twitter account that would update us pretty much every week. But now it's so murky, and I feel like they're inflating these things, and they're doing it for their own agenda, which I'm not into it. Let's get Nielsen involved. Leslie.
I mean, the other part with Valley, Leslie Nielsen, yeah, he can let us know. But the other thing with the Valley, why ratings might be up, is shock viewers. Like, is it really that bad? Or wow, they're really going to put Jax on again? It's like this sick thing that we all have, where it's like we know we shouldn't watch, and if we wanted to make a statement, we wouldn't watch, and yet we have all watched. We have an excuse.
It's our job.
What's your excuse?
Yeah, I told you yesterday I had to turn it off. But when it comes to Miami, the thing is, I feel like what we're getting is just like who's watching on Bravo that night. We don't get that extra information of here's the 7-day or here's the week-long ratings for it with Peacock, because people don't like simply watch it on that night. We don't even watch it, and this is our job. We watch it the next day because we don't want to deal with commercials. We've got other things going on. Miami's on Wednesday night, so Love Island isn't conflicting, but I do watch Love Island pretty much live. But when it comes to the Bravo shows, we typically watch it a day, maybe sometimes 2 days later. I would imagine that the casual recording
schedule. I mean, the other part is we want it to be as fresh as it can be. So a lot of times, if we know we're recording a couple of days later, we'll watch it that day, so we're nice and refreshed. But yeah, I think the streaming numbers would be much more helpful in regards to how shows are doing. I don't think that the live numbers are indicative of how good a show is. But that being said, 200,000 something for the premiere is ludicrous. Like, that's crazy.
And that's the other problem is the Bravo didn't market it enough. They just simply didn't.
They never do.
But it's not even just Miami. It seems to be other things. Like we saw when we're watching, I remember when the Valley was coming out, we're watching VPR, they would promote the hell out of the Valley. And then they had the crossover event. And other shows, they tend to show you a lot like, hey, here's a trailer. Here's another trailer. Here's what we're doing.
Here's the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, here's the first 15 minutes. Here's the stars of that show on Watch What Happens Live the week before to make you at least cognizant of the fact that it's coming back. With Miami, they didn't do that. And I'm going to raise it again. OC is coming back in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We saw the trailer for it. We're not getting anything else from it. So they're not doing a good job of marketing to their fans. Just use your social media. Nobody's really, again, we're not really watching these shows live. So we're not seeing the commercials in between. Put it on social media. That's where everybody's seeing these things. Throw it out there every week. Throw a little clip here and there. We know you have it. Even if you don't use it in the show, just put it out there. Like, I don't see what the harm is in doing that, especially for a housewife franchise when your housewife franchises are pretty much floundering right now.
Except this one. That's my point. And so if you're listening to us, I know a lot of people listen, even though you don't watch some of the shows that we watch, which thank you for the support. It means a lot. But if you're listening to this and you're not watching Miami, you're really missing out. You're 100% missing out on one of the best housewives franchises on TV right now. And that goes without saying.
It's such a good housewife core show. Like, it's so camp. It's just so like, this is what it's supposed to be.
There's wealth, there's
fabricated
luxury.
Bullshit. It's wealth, luxury. They're going on like 7 international trips this year, which now I understand why they're doing that. It looks like, 1 or 2 of the housewives are actually going to these cities, and then we'll have like 2 cast trips maybe. But it's just simply, it's that good. And it's exactly what you want in a housewife show.
I agree. But let's dive into this episode. And last call to action, please watch this show. There's no excuse to not watch this show. But
absolutely.
But we start out with Lisa, Gertie, and Adriana. They're sitting down to lunch. They're sort of recapping the last 24 hours. We've got Jody's party, obviously, we have to talk about. And then the Alexis and Todd stuff. So the first thing we need to discuss is Adriana's man, Frenchie. We got to get the skinny on this guy. We still don't know shit about him. She just said something, I believe. He's a marquee, and I believe she made a facial joke.
Yeah, there was a facial joke somewhere in there. That's more than most people to go off of. I feel like it's, he's a marquee. That's cool. So we know what he does.
He's French. No, we don't.
Royalty in Europe is just they're faces. They go do charitable events. They hang out. Yeah, they just show up wherever. And we get an intimate detail about facials. So I think, that's really all you need. Just
I guess we
one broad detail, one intimate detail. Yeah,
you're right. But Lisa chimes in and she's talking about her dad. As we know, her and her dad just reconnected recently, and now her dad had a heart attack and he's in the hospital. The prognosis is not very good, so she's worried about that whole thing. But she's walking in Milan for a fashion show. The funny thing is, what Larsa said later was fucked up, but Larsa wasn't wrong.
That's actually where I came to the conclusion of she's just good for the show. Her personality is just a housewife that's going to get things messy. And when you can do that in a way of being messy, but also having a lot of truth in those comments.
Sometimes don't give her too much credit here.
No. I'm not going full like behind Larsa. I was even kidding about the Lisa stuff last year.
That would be wild.
Last episode.
We find out that Larsa's going as well. So it's going to get a little bit messy while they're over there, which I look forward to. And then we get Larsa with Preston, her son. Preston is walking the fashion show that Lisa will also be walking in. It's for Philip Plein. Am I saying that right? Now, does Philip Plein also own a hotel? It said the Plein Hotel. That's where they're. I don't know if that was like the vibe of the fashion show or if that was his hotel. I was confused about the venue when we get there.
I like to think that he owns the hotel.
I want to think that he owns the hotel as well.
Yeah, it could be. You know what it could be? It might be one of those little boutique hotels that has like a big showroom for that specifically. So it's less like I don't know. It's not like Marriott owns it, but it's, the Plein Hotel or something like that. It's just, it's a boutique hotel in Milan. It's very fashionable. Everybody stays over there. That's why Larsa and Lisa are there.
Sure. And
Fabo.
That works for me. And I know, what the fuck? How random was that?
God, I love him.
Now, my question for you, because Larsa paints it this way. Originally, Phil asked me to walk, and I said no, but what about Preston? Do you think that she was actually asked to walk, or did Preston get asked to walk?
I do think that it definitely went differently than how Larsa's telling right now. I do think because Lisa was walking in it, I think Larsa was also asked, and who was asked first, I don't really know. I'm not going to get into those details. I think probably what happened is Larsa was asked. She didn't feel comfortable. We don't really get a whole lot. You watch Miami for a long time. You understand Larsa. You don't really know what's going on in her head. I think maybe there's a chance that this Marcus stuff really has fucked her up a lot. And we saw this last week when her and Lisa got into it. We actually saw her breakdown. Which did.
Like I'll give her some grace in that regard. She doesn't do any favors for herself, but sure, fine. The Marcus thing might have sent her for a loop.
Yeah, and trying to get into Larsa's head, trying to understand, her mentality is that's a fool's errand. But I think what happened is she was asked, Lisa was asked, and Larsa just didn't feel comfortable, and she probably just spun it and said, "Hey, how about Preston?" I don't think he said, "What about one of your sons?" I think she offered it up, but that's
the way she said. I thought she said that she offered up.
She said that Philip asked her, "What about Preston?"
Are you sure? I think she said, "What about Preston?" I don't know. That doesn't matter.
Who knows?
I was
We're
just
not getting
curious.
the truth anyway. Who cares?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I did respect though on the car ride to the airport. She's trying to hustle Preston along. They're going to be late. This is the only flight out to Milan. You better hustle up. And she brings up Lisa. And I like Preston's response. He's like, I don't really care to talk about it. This is like a work trip for me. So why don't you just buzz off, Mom? I'm focused right now.
I can only imagine his face and his response to her talking about Lisa in the days leading up. Like, oh God, really? Now you guys have to get into a fight? Now we're filming all of this? I just want to go. Milan sounds cool. I'm going to go walk in my first show. Can this just be about that, for the love of God?
You would think. You would hope. Yeah. But if Larsa's involved, it's going to be about Larsa. She makes that evidently clear towards the end of this episode. I can't wait to talk about that. But Alexia and Julia are doing some Pilates together, and they're leaving. They're talking about, again, everyone's kind of just recapping the last 48 hours. We get to Alexia and Julia, and they were doing Pilates together. They're doing what everyone else is doing in this episode, just recapping the last couple of days, / the Alexia and Todd divorce or not divorce, that whole thing. But we need to try our best to figure out what is going on between Gertie and Julia. Because I, for the life of me, can't put two and two together. She's like, she sent me a really cold text message. It's like, yeah, but the sequence of events was, first of all, we get you on the Zoom saying Guerdy tried to get in, but she couldn't get in.
Yep.
There's the effort in which she was trying to show up for you. And then after that, your text back to her was rude as shit. You're like, you can find out through the media. And she's acting like that text wasn't shady. That's like the miscommunication here, I think. But you like telling her to check the tabloids because I'm not going to tell you what's up because you missed the meeting is rude. So of course she said congrats.
Her excuse for it was that her hands were full, which isn't even a good excuse.
You typed out a full paragraph. Just tell her in the paragraph.
Like, seriously, send like a picture of something. I don't care what you have to do. Just tell her like what do you think is going on? Like it's insane. And this next part just makes things even worse for Julia in my mind because she goes into, I guess, her reasoning on why her and Gertie are having a falling out. And it's because Gertie's been doing this for a while. And she alluded to that last week where there's some other text messages. There's some other communication that's really broken down. And I don't really like where she's coming from. She's sending cold text messages. Here, you invited Gertie to an event, didn't fucking sit with her, let her go sit by herself. And Gertie was like, well, what the hell? Like, I thought I was coming here as your friend.
They were on
to
a
hang
cruise,
out,
weren't they?
Yeah, it was on a cruise, but it was an event that Julia was hosting, or at least part of hosting.
Yeah.
And Gertie was invited, and she got to go sit in the corner by herself. And Julia, from what I'm understanding, didn't go over and go hang out with her or check in on her. So Gertie's like, well, fuck this. I guess I'll just like enjoy dinner and like leave, like see you later. That's a reasonable response. If anyone anyone in our friend group, if you and I were hosting an event, we're like, hey, come hang out. And we just let them go sit in the corner and didn't say anything to them. You and I get on stage and we make jokes to our friends that are sitting in the back that don't even watch Bravo. Correct. That's going the extra mile.
You're welcome, guys.
That's actually the bare minimum, to be honest. So in this instance, you're just making yourself look like a worse friend while trying to paint Gertie as a bad friend. It doesn't make any sense. You're not helping yourself.
That's what I thought. I'm like, no part of any of her arguments am I thinking that Gertie fucked up. When she explains this whole thing, I'm like, because she was trying to say she was too concerned about PR and this and that. In what regard? Because she says in her text, I'm literally only here for you.
Yep.
So I'll just go sit here. I'll see you around is what the end of the text said. So these all seem like problems that were caused by Julia, not by Gertie. And I do think because this rings true for some other people on this show, I do believe that she's spending too much time with Alexia and Marisol.
Correct. I was just going to ask you that question. So the way that Alexia and Marisol operate in this friend group works for them. It works really, really well for them.
And we love them together.
We love them together because when they're talking to each other, it can be intimate. They can get into discussions about their actual lives and they tell each other the truth for the most part. And you get real reactions, whether it's in a confessional or right there in the moment. Those are the things that make sense for the two of them. When it comes to the rest of the group, they're able to just kind of circulate through, spread some rumors, talk shit on people, but they never really get held accountable. And when they do, it's, a pretty big thing that happens during the course of a season. Anytime that we see somebody trying to break in, whether it's Adriana, whether it's now Julia, it never ends well for them because Alexia and Marisol can distance themselves from that person. If you get into some shit, they're not going to back you up. They back up everybody and like with words, but they don't really go that extra mile. If Julia gets into it with Gertie, they're not going to invite Gertie to events that they're inviting Julia to. They'll do that, but they're not going to back you up. So I don't know what she thinks is going to happen. It's going to end poorly for her. And it's going to end how we've seen it pretty much work across the board with when it comes to Alexia and Marisol. Everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, it's Alexia and Marisol. Like, of course they're going to do that stuff. This is where Dr. Nicole Martin comes into play because she called that shit out. When she's not there, there's not going to be anybody really calling that out. I think Gertie's got a lot going on. She's not really going to go ahead and like dig into it too much. She's probably going to sit this one out a little bit. I don't know if anybody else is really going to pay attention to it, honestly.
No, and it's going to end up leaving not Gertie, but Julia out on an island. Yeah. Gertie's not going to catch any backlash here because Gertie did nothing wrong. She reposted us the other day because I posted Justice for Gertie, or Team Guerdy for life. So she's our friend. It's no big deal.
Dude, we're still fucking. Are you kidding me? Like after this episode, did you see people online asking if Russell seemed checked out? Like fuck off. You leave Russell
Everyone
alone.
needs to leave Russell the fuck alone.
He's
okay?
a goddamn angel.
He is a wonderful man who has been nothing but supportive to his wife. We have seen him day in and day out. I don't know how he catches shit. This is the second year in a row.
I don't
Fucking
know.
leave him alone.
He is, by the way, if you guys listen to this show and you guys have listened to us for a long time, we usually back the wrong horse. We are.
He's the
really
only
bad at
one that hasn't let us down.
He's the only one who has somehow gotten better, and we backed him as soon as we met him. We stayed with him. We backed him the whole time, and he is only moving forward in my book. So you guys leave Russell alone. He is good. He's a good man.
He's a great man. Shut the fuck up about Russell. I'll get real serious with it. But we need to talk about Alexia and Todd between these two as well, because we get conflicting stories, not stories, but feelings. And I think this whole episode is Alexia working her way through with how she's feeling, because in this moment, she doesn't want Todd to proceed with the divorce. I guess because they've taken such a long time to get to the next step, the courts are now saying, look, you either need to push this forward or you dismiss the divorce.
Yeah.
And so now Todd is in this limbo of trying to figure it out. She says in this moment, the ball's in his court. I put 5 months of effort in to save this marriage, so he better, blah, blah, blah. So in this moment, she's wanting Todd to get back together with her.
Yes.
Right.
But like, dude, I don't know. I don't know what to believe when it comes to them. Obviously, it seems really shady, but Alexia's emotions here and the dinner later tell me a different story. So we're not hearing from Todd. We find out a little bit later. He doesn't like the way that he's portrayed on the show. He can't control the way that people are thinking about him, which is fucking insane. That sentence really creeped me out. That sentence really creeped me out. But we're only getting Alexia's side of this, and there's a lot of information. There's a lot of feelings. I genuinely think that she doesn't really know how to feel about it. And I don't know if she's privy to what Todd's actually doing, if he is doing something, on the shady side, whether it's something financial or whatever it might be.
And she let some things leak.
Yeah, it does suck because she seems like she's just kind of caught in the middle of this and she doesn't really know how to feel. And she wants to be there for him because she does love Todd. So I actually do feel pretty bad for her in this moment and still kind of feel bad for her if she's just being a pawn in the game right now.
I do too. I think what we're getting in this scene is Todd's feelings.
Yeah.
Saying that we don't know where he is. I think this is where he's at. He's not sure what he wants to do. The ball's in his court, blah, blah, blah. I think later on at dinner with Johnny, we get Alexia's feelings. Yeah. I think that's kind of what I shook it out to be. But let's get to Milan. Don't want to wait any longer. Lisa and Larsa had the same flight, which I figured they would if it was the only flight to Milan. That makes sense. The funniest part is that they have to share a Sprinter van on the way to the hotel.
They do. And it's great.
Of course.
Just incredible.
It's awkward as shit when they get in there. Lisa, I like the fact that you acknowledge Preston and she checks on him. Yeah. And she tries to keep it light. She's just like, oh, you're kind of like a stage mom. Ha ha. And Larsa finds her opening to bring up the everyone knows what you are comment. And she's like, yeah, well, you said everyone knows what you are. It's like, I birthed 4 superstar kids. I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay. We'll move past it. Let's just, I don't think we need to.
Okay. I won't.
I thought about it too. I don't want to poke it. I don't want to poke the bear.
But she's like, that hurt. And then Lisa's like, well, what hurt me was the fact that it's Jody's party and you come in there talking shit about Jody. And then out of left field, Jody chimes in. And he's like, I was nice to you. I hugged you and you're saying all these mean things at my house. I'm just trying to do AC with my friends. And you're ruining my time. You're bringing me down. This is where Larsa will always lose me, is when you get her defense of everything, because it never makes sense to me. Again, the logic does not logic, therefore irritated. She goes, that's fine. You can be friends with Marcus. You chose him, blah, blah, blah. I could never be friends with someone who trashed my friend. It's like, again, Lisa is not friends with Marcus. And then I have to ask the question, Larsa, how close are you with Jody? Are you guys friends, or is he the boyfriend of your friend?
I don't think
They don't have any kind of friendship. They don't have a relationship. They're not tight.
This is going to sound mean, but I don't think Larsa has any friends, like real friends.
Not real friends.
Unless, we're not really seeing these people that aren't on the show and they don't want to sign up for it. But the interactions that we see, it doesn't look like she has friends. She's incredibly self-absorbed. So the idea that she could be friends with a friend's significant other is laughable, because I don't think that her friends go that deep. Like, it just ends right there. Saying. It's very surface level. For her to be able to also be friends with Jody, she would have to have a deep friendship with Lisa, which she doesn't have. So it doesn't make any sense. She's just using this as somewhat of an ammunition. Like, we were friends. How are you going to do that to me? It's like, well, you weren't. You guys like exchange pleasantries here and there and probably don't have any discussions at all. No conversations at any dinner table. You're just using this to try to get back to Lisa, which isn't really going to work, because Lisa excused herself from the party because of you. She didn't stay because of you. She didn't stay.
She kicked you out.
Yeah, and she kicked you out later because you came into the party going after Jody, who, by the way, is not your friend and isn't even really close with Marcus. Now, this is where it gets a little weird, because Jody could have easily just been like, pretty much what Lisa said, just double down. My friends were all there. I'm hanging out with my friends. We didn't really talk to Marcus. He's friends with my friends. It's just kind of a big group. Whatever. Who cares? It's not a big deal. Lisa left. Instead, he tries to convince Larsa that he is really good friends with Marcus.
He didn't say good friends. He said we're not.
He didn't say a whole lot of anything, because Larsa kept cutting him off.
True, but he said we're not like best friends or anything. But and I do believe like that's just the transitive property of friend groups. Like there's people that you hang out with regularly that I would say are, I'm somewhat friends with. I don't see them very often, but when I do see them, like, Scott, I'm like, hey man, what's up?
Hey Scott, shout out Scott.
Yeah, shout out Scott. But that's my point. It's the transitive property of friend groups. So could him and Marcus be to the level that you can at least say, yeah, that's my friend? Yeah, probably. So like none of this made any sense
right now. You know what I mean? Though,
but that's the Larsa.
The wrong time.
Larsa's gonna poke and poke and poke until you do.
I just want people to realize, and only a handful of people really understand this when it comes to Larsa. You don't owe her an explanation. You just simply do not. Lisa can go to bat for you. You don't really need to dig into it. You don't have to defend yourself against Larsa. It doesn't really mean anything if she's coming after you. Like, if she's offended by something that you did and you're not close to her, fucking brush it off. Like, you do not need to explain anything to her, because that's just going to allow her to have another opening. And if you say something that's even a little bit wrong, a little bit offensive to what she might be going through, she'll come right back and drop the hammer on you. So it's just not worth it. And some people really don't do that. Some people just let it lie. I've seen Gertie do it a couple of times where she can just let Larsa go off, and then Larsa looks insane. And everybody looks at Larsa like, holy shit, what is wrong with you? You're going after Gertie, who's going through breast cancer, who's going through chemo. So yeah, you can do certain things where you just let her go and she looks like the aggressor. She looks like the wrong person. Kind of funny that Lisa turns around and Jody turns around and says sorry to Preston.
I know.
In the middle of all of this. Like, sorry, your mom's a fucking lunatic. I don't know if it is
in front of, well, it's my point. Like, I don't care how old the kids are.
Yeah.
Like, I just from Larsa's side, what Lisa and Jody did was 100% petty, being like, sorry, your mom's crazy.
Pretty much, yeah.
On the flip side, for Larsa, I don't care how old your kids are. Don't do this shit in front of your children. Yep. It's unbecoming. It's a bad look.
When the camera turns on for her, though, I don't think that she just doesn't care. There's collateral damage all over the place, and she never seems to really.
She just steps over dead bodies. She didn't give a shit.
Yep. Yeah.
And it ends with her saying, Marcus doesn't even like you. Keep kissing Marcus's ass, which we have no evidence to that. That's not like a haymaker landing, because we don't know what Jody apparently did or did not do for Marcus.
Yeah.
And she's just trying to make Jody feel like shit. She's like, what if you like him and he doesn't like you, like, you're kind of a psycho. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, settle down.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he opened the door. That's all he did. If he didn't say a word and just kind of like laughed it off or whatever, you can't laugh it off. She'll call you out for that too. You have to be careful with Larsa. You really do. She's very good at her craft.
Don't have to give her the time of day.
Exactly. If you don't give her the time of day and say, look, Larsa, this isn't the time or place, and then there never is a time or place, that's the best approach, probably.
Just
anything else, she can open you up easily. You just you can't give her anything. You just can't give her anything, because she'll take it a mile. It's crazy.
You're right. You're 100% right. And Lisa tries to play the sympathy card here. And she's like, I've been going through a lot. My dad's in the ICU. He's gonna live. He's not gonna live. He's gonna live. He's not gonna live. And Jody's like, yeah, he might, be gone in a week. And Larsa's like, then why are you here? I was like,
see,
fucked up.
You don't say that. You just
Fucked
don't
up.
say things. And I think Larsa already knew that too. So I think she could have easily brought it up. But again, you're dealing with Larsa. You just don't give her any information. She'll use it against you immediately. It's just it's so easy for her.
Though.
She's not wrong. And that's why Larsa is so good for this show and so good for housewife shows. She's not wrong. And it is a really tough situation. And Lisa can get upset about it. She didn't really say anything that mean. She's just spitting facts.
But it comes off as really mean because you're questioning how she's dealing with her father's mortality.
Yeah.
So that's going to hit hard. And there's a lot of ways to look at it. She just got close with her dad. This is a big deal. Like, he's going to want her to live her life, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, it's like, yeah, he might only have 7 days and you're doing a fashion show in a hotel lobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's right. But
she's right.
Still mean.
But mean.
Let's get to Gertie and Russell, our favorite. They're going for a checkup with Gertie's plastic surgeon, as she explained in the premiere of this season. Due to the breast cancer, she had to get a breast reduction, breast reconstruction, and one of her breasts does not look how she wants it to look. She wants to get back to a place where she feels comfortable and proud of her body. This is part of that process. Obviously, she's had, 5, 6 surgeries, 20 rounds of chemo, or 20 rounds of radiation, chemo, like all these crazy things.
Yeah.
And she just wants to get back to feeling normal. I understand where Russell's coming from. If someone said checked out, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Yep.
But clearly, he doesn't want to have to see his wife go through any more surgeries, but he's also supportive. So he's saying, like, do we really want to do one more? Implying, like, you look great to me. Mm-hmm. I love you. I don't want to see you go through any more of this. Yeah. And on the flip side, Gertie is like, look, I need to do this for me, whether it's 1 or 2 more surgeries. If that makes me feel back to my normal self, I want to do it. Please support me. What does he do? He hugs her and supports her. So leave Russell alone.
This was the best situation in which we've seen either a husband, boyfriend, whatever male, significant other that we've seen in these shows. When a woman is talking about how she feels in her body, you just have to listen to what she's saying and support her. And if she wants to do something, you go about it the way that works best for her. It's her body. If this is how she wants to feel, this is how she wants to go about it. You just support. And yeah, I get it. This is a situation where Russell has also been through a lot when it comes to Gertie. Gertie's gone through all of the chemo. She went through breast cancer. She cleared out. Now she's going through all of this. He probably is worn down. It is a lot to go through for both of them. She still has the energy to try to get back to a place where she feels good about it. He's really tired. He's really probably scared, honestly. He's nervous about how this is going to go.
He just,
like, he almost lost his wife. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, it's insane. You almost lost your wife to cancer. She got through, and now she's trying to get back to a place mentally where she feels good and physically where she feels good. And she wants to get there. And if one more surgery is going to do that, obviously us looking in, go for it, Gertie. You deserve it. You got through it. I want you to live your best life. Russell is very close to the situation. He's a little scared. Of course, he's going to be a little apprehensive, but he didn't do the typical, you look great to me, babe. What are we doing here? Like we've seen from other people. We saw it with Danny and Nia, where it's like, Danny, just shut up.
It's not about you, Danny.
Come on. Like, it's not about you at all. He started off with how he felt about it. She said it right back and said, look, if I can do one more surgery and get back to where I want to be, obviously I'm going to take that opportunity. He supported her. We move on. That's what we want. This was the best way that I've seen a husband handle a situation like this in all of the Bravo shows. So leave Russell alone.
Yeah, checked out. Idiots.
My ass.
Let's check in with, check out my ass. But let's get
Not
to
Russell.
Marisol.
I don't want Russell to check. I'm just, you guys can all check out our asses.
Yeah.
Well, now it's getting weird.
Let's just check in with Marisol and Steve. Just move on and check in with these
Steve.
two. They're getting married. I know Steve's great. We're getting married in a week. And I love that this is a courthouse wedding. This isn't for the show. This isn't for publicity. They love each other. They want to make it official. Gives her a little bit more security in their marriage, all those things. So they're going to go to the courthouse. I love that move. And they start talking about Todd and Alexia. You get Marisol's true feelings about this whole thing. She's like, I don't want this to happen, because when she's with him, you get this bad version of Alexia where she's meaner, she's quieter, she's constantly defending him and the stupid shit that he's doing, and she just wants her to kind of see the light and get the hell away from Todd, And I think that we all want that.
That's exactly
it's very reasonable.
I've really come to like Marisol a lot. I mean, I love Steve, and I'm hoping that Miami's the one housewife show where when we back a husband, nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure everything will be fine.
God, I know. But I really like Steve. I really like these moments with Marisol, because I feel like when they rebooted this, Marisol was such a background character. She is still a friend of, but she was a background character that seemed to be like Alexia's lackey. She's really come into her own. She stands on her own 2 feet. She's able to talk about Alexia, where we've seen her in the past not broach the subject when it comes to Alexia, not talk about how she truly feels about it. Now she's open about it, and she's open about it to Alexia, and Alexia is receiving of that. So it's very interesting to watch how she's kind of grown into her own here, where she doesn't really have problems with anybody anymore. And she's a really, really good friend of. She's
it's
awesome.
Early in the season.
I know, but she's like an awesome, we'll call her like an auxiliary character, if you will, to this show, where it's just like, I don't know. She's up there with like Cynthia for me at this point, where she doesn't really have beef with anybody, and she can say whatever the fuck she wants. She says what's on her mind, and people are like, okay, yeah, Marisol thinks that, whatever. And she can take a joke, which is very important when it comes to these things.
The other thing is, how many friend ofs do we get solo scenes at their house? They need to
She's
promote
the only
her.
one. She really is the only one that we've seen.
Give her the paycheck she deserves. That's bullshit.
I hope that she is getting paid close to like.
She deserves it.
You would
she
think
does
like
just
with
as
Nicole.
much.
I did think. I mean, they are bringing Stephanie in, so that's kind of interesting. Maybe Marisol doesn't really want the full-time cast member.
That could be it too. That could be it.
Miami's unlike other shows, though. They have so many friend ofs.
Yeah, that's a good point. But let's get to Larsa and Preston again. They're back in Milan, and I figured out what Preston is doing there, or what Larsa wants Preston to be doing. And I just wanted to scream through the TV, hey, Larsa, Preston's not Marcus. Okay? Preston's not your boyfriend. Preston's not somebody you need to be bouncing off show ideas to, because he's a kid and he doesn't give a fuck. But that's what she's looking for in this scene, is for him to like talk back, because she's like, what'd you think about that car conversation? He
wasn't listening. He had his fucking AirPods in. Like,
yeah, but
there's no way.
He's a college kid about to do a runway walk. He doesn't care, and he doesn't want to get involved. And she's bringing up the dad dying thing, and he's like, that's their business, Mom.
Yep.
Like, I'm not doing this with you. Shut up and don't be confrontational. She's here, so she's gonna be here.
It is so true too, because we even said it last week. I said it as just like kind of a throwaway comment when we saw her and her mom, and we get to Larsa's mom because she needs somebody to film with. Correct. That is pretty much what we're getting. She doesn't have anybody in the group or outside of the group to have there sitting there talking about what the hell's going on. A little debrief session that we get to see with other housewives when they sit down with their significant other, a friend of, whoever it might be. Instead, it's just her talking to anybody that's willing to listen. It's tough to watch. It's a tough watch.
It's just kind of sad.
Yeah,
she doesn't have that person, or maybe we haven't seen them yet. Maybe she will. Maybe somebody will step into that role.
Yeah, maybe Stephanie will be a friend,
perhaps. But let's get to Philip Pline. I think it's Pline. I'm just gonna keep saying Pline. Let's get to they're trying on the fits before the show, and again, it's Preston's first show, so he's got to practice his walk, all these things. I loved how not sugar-coated Philip was. He's like, what are those shoes? Because we can't tie them like that. That looks terrible. Take your shirt off. All right, this is Milan. We're not in the States. We don't wear shirts under our shit. Come on, buddy. And he's even saying things to Larsa like, he's not gonna fuck this up, right? He better not fuck this thing up. I was like, wow, he's legit. This is real.
He's legit. Yep. Yeah, this was not a walk in the park. This was a very legit situation. So yeah, I'm happy, because if this is what Preston wants to do, don't give him this like easy sugar-coated bullshit. Like, all right, you're a housewife's son. We're gonna make this so much fun for you. No, like I want to see what a real fashion walk. I want to see fashion walk. Does that sound right?
I believe it's runway walk.
Runway walk. Yeah, I want to see what this actually looks like. I want to see him start walking and have Philip pull him to the side and be like, what the fuck was that? You ever walk before? Like, I want it to be cutthroat. I want to see how it actually, put him through the ringer. This is what you want to do. You're going to work for it. That's what I want.
I don't know a lot about runway walks. obviously.
We talk about it all the time.
I know, but like as far as the strategy, the technique,
yeah.
all of those things, I can tell you if I personally think that somebody walked well or not, but I don't know if like fundamentally it was. He appeared to do a really good job. I thought he looked good out there. I don't
Great.
know, but I thought he did a solid job. Where Larsa again gets herself into trouble is moments like this, where he asks, "Where's your friend?" And she's like, "Oh, we're not friends anymore." And can I push her down the stairs? It's like, whoa. And then
talked about her falling like multiple times.
That was the thing where he's like, "Oh, because should I push her down the stairs as is she gonna fall?" And she goes, "Maybe." It's like, don't do that.
She is a faller.
But now you're messing with like her business and shit. I don't fuck with that.
No, I don't fuck with that either. And that's when I started to think like, why are you not walking in this? If you were asked, like there has to be some other reason. And again, I'll give her some grace and say maybe she's just really going through it and she just didn't feel like it. And she found a good little, an option. Hey, Preston can walk. He's always wanted to do this. Let's give him the opportunity. Okay, that's great. Good mom. But there's got to be another reason in here because she's so salty this whole time. It's like, you wish that was you, don't you?
That's where I'm not sure. Did he call? Maybe he called and asked, "Hey, can I have one of your other kids walk?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, what about Preston? He's looking to get into modeling." Like, I'm not sure if the other kids model or anything like that, but I have so many question marks because of how she was acting at the fashion show, why she had to say certain things after the fashion show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not happy about not being up there. So I'm not saying that she wasn't asked to walk, but I don't think she was asked to walk.
I don't think she was asked to walk now that like we've talked about it, which this happens any episode when we've got question marks. Once we talk through things, I kind of come to my answer. I don't think she was asked. I really don't. I think maybe actually this is probably what happened. She found out that Lisa was asked to walk and reached out to Philip. And instead of doing the embarrassing, "Hey, I heard that you asked Lisa to walk. Do you want me to walk too?" She said, "My son really wants to get into fashion. Do you mind giving him an opportunity? I'll send you some headshots." That's probably what went around.
Tracks.
Now, that's kind of where I am. I think I figured it out.
Like that. I like that. I think, but I think we can both agree she probably didn't get asked to walk.
Yeah, right? And she really wishes that she did.
Well, let's get to dinner with Johnny. And we got Alexia there, Kiki, who I'm going to need more of. I need more Kiki always.
Yeah, we do this every season.
I know. And we get a lot of, I guess, Johnny's friends that are all still in Miami because he just recently moved to Madrid. Mm-hmm. And so we need a catch up, right? We got to cover the important topics such as, are you circumcised?
Yes.
As Alexia.
Oh,
I wasn't asking me? You. What the fuck? That's just the general line of question.
Yeah. No, I meant, yes, like I was agreeing with you. That's what we're important.
Totally, 100%. You're gross. It's gross. But Marisol wants a penis to pull and snap.
Yeah.
That's everyone knows that's what we do.
Pull and snap. It actually makes a noise too. It goes,
yep. We finally get a Todd update. And again, we're in the same spot we were. The courts are pushing to dismiss or proceed this case, and the ball's in his court. And Kiki chimes in. I'm glad she did. She's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The ball's in your court, by the way. You keep putting all this emphasis on Todd and what Todd wants to do. Get your power back. And that's the interesting thing about Alexia. And she acknowledges it here, which I respect. She's a hard ass. Like, we know that about her. Like, she's very tough. She can handle her shit. So to watch her do this it just shows you what headspace she's in. So I'm not like knocking her for it. It just shows you how fucked up she is with this whole thing. But she's self-aware. She's like, I know, but that's what this dude does to me. And the next 5 minutes is her kind of walking her way through how she actually feels. She's talking about a lot of shit with Todd where, his big issues with the show, as you talked about earlier, his big problem with the show is how he's seen on the show. He doesn't like how he comes across. It's like, no shit,
control it
because you're an asshole.
We know that you can't control how you're viewed on a show, but also you don't need to do the things that we saw you do on the show. You can be aware in the moment and say, ugh. if you're really going to be one of those guys that wants to control your public image, maybe don't do the things that we saw you do on the show. Maybe sit there and think. Yeah, don't be such a dick. Go to the fucking party. Don't go downstairs to the gym and act like you're out of town and tell her to lie for you.
But then say goodbye to everybody leaving.
Yeah, like don't do the whole weird shit that you were doing with Anthony. Like all of those things are the reasons why we looked at you and said, this guy sucks. This guy's a weirdo. So we're right about your character, by the way, because that is who you are. And if you were putting on some weird fucking character or caricature of yourself on this show, then you might be even worse than what you were portrayed last year. You might be a worse person. So this is a bad situation to be in. I don't think we're going to see him on the show unless he like retools like how he thinks about things. I have no idea what he's going to do.
I bet we get him at one point.
I think maybe we'll see him pop in at some point. But when it comes to Alexia, I feel bad because last week I did make a joke and I was like, oh, you've been divorced 3 times. You know, maybe you understand how this works. I think that's playing a big part. Like it is a really big part of I've been divorced 3 times. Like it doesn't sound like she was, you know, the person that did the divorcing. So I think she's a little insecure in this and she doesn't really know what to do with it because now she's starting to feel like maybe I'm a little less than. And that's why this dinner was so important because you have people like Johnny, you have your friends around you. You've got Marisol, who's a fucking incredible hype woman. You've got Julia, who for the love of God, just wants to be your best friend. If you had Adriana there, maybe extend the olive branch to Adriana. She'll hype you up. If you just give her a chance, she wants to be your friend so bad.
More than anything in the world.
Kiki is such a badass that when you're talking about all of this, you saw this. Like her talking about Todd and then having that moment of realization, like, maybe this isn't a me problem, it's a Todd problem. Once that opening happened, all of them got your back. All of them gave you so much power. And that's what we saw at the end of this dinner when she just goes off on Todd and it was all the fake bullshit. It was so good. And it must have felt so incredible for Alexia to go through all of that because she's 1,000% been lying to everybody around her, probably lying to herself at some point and lying to the show because she's had to hold this down for so long so that people didn't find this out. And now it's like, you know what? Fuck this guy. If he's going to make me feel this way, I'm going to just out him for all this shit.
And we've all known, right? Like this isn't news to us, but getting the confirmation from her was satisfying as shit. You know, the fake rented apartment, the fake rented car. None of this is ours. I'm like, fuck yeah, we knew it. But God, that feels good to finally get it out there.
God. It's the best.
And the dinner
open.
Yeah, and it ends the best way possible. She's like, fuck him. And everyone's like, yeah, fuck Todd. And I'm like, yeah, fuck Todd. It was a great way to end the dinner. And she got her power back. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows as they go through this whole thing, but hopefully she's able to stand her ground and tell Todd what's up. But then we get to the fashion show. Jody sits down with Jack, who is the global ambassador for, I guess, Philip Plein.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay. So he sits down with Jack and Larsa. I don't know why he offered this information. He's like, Lisa took 2 wrong turns in practice. I was like, why are you giving them ammo? What are we doing, Jody? Shut up. Go get some AC. Why are you talking shit?
It's so fucking messy. Like, you can tell that he probably has no idea what he's doing. Like, and we've seen him in social situations before, and we've heard that he is incredibly awkward in social situations.
Shocker.
Don't do this. You're supposed to be her support man. You're supposed to be out there listening. If Larsa's talking shit, you hold on to that. You don't say anything to her right then and there because that's what Larsa wants. She wants you to bite so that now it's a whole fucking shitstorm while the fashion show's going on, and everybody's like, "Whoa, what's going on over here? Is that Lisa's boyfriend yelling at Larsa?" What happened there? Oh, there's Lisa walking on stage. Now nobody's paying attention to Lisa on stage. So just bite your tongue and sit there. Don't give her any fucking information. Watch Lisa walk down the aisle. Do not tell her what place she's walking in because she uses that immediately. We've got Preston basically opening the show because he's the second one there. Lisa's 50 something. Jody just said she's like 52nd. Oh God. It's like,
shut up.
Just shut up, man.
It was so dumb. And the other part of it, like, I don't want to steal Preston's thunder because, again, he looked like he did a good job. And he was second in the show. But Jack being like, he practically started the show. I'm like, no, he didn't, because the
Nope.
first person starts the show. And I think
Yeah.
the first person, that's the big one. But that's enough ammo for Larsa. She's like, yeah, he's number 2. And Lisa's like 50.
Yeah, Jack seems like he's so far up Larsa's ass. I don't need to see Jack again. We're
Yeah,
done with
Jack was kind of irritating, especially with the fact that he's supposed to be an ambassador for the company, for Philip Plein, right?
Yeah,
And
not a
as
great
Lisa's
look.
walking out, she has that ridiculous phone light on her phone to take a selfie. And she takes a stupid selfie with Jack as Lisa's doing her walkthrough. The
Mhm.
light itself is embarrassing to hold up in that moment because people are going to see that. But the second part of that, Jack, don't play into this. You're supposed to be an ambassador for all. And yet you're helping throw shade at Lisa, acting like it's
I hope he
unimportant.
got fired.
Well, you see him clean it up afterwards, because the next time she walks out, he's like holding his phone, like, oh, there's Lisa. I'm like, you don't care. You already showed your true colors, Jack. You're Team Larsa.
Yeah, you did it when the group walked out, but you didn't do it when she walked out by herself. You're supposed to be Team Philip, actually, not just Team Larsa.
Correct. Correct. It's Team Philip, damn it.
That's like literally his job is to be Team Philip. Like,
I know. I know. I did appreciate that, Lisa like blew a kiss at Larsa as she was walking by. I was like, yeah. The way that Larsa was acting at the show is what made me believe that she didn't get asked to walk. The multiple selfies, the acting like she's not paying attention to the stage. That's what really pointed to, I don't think that she was ever going to be a part of this.
No, I don't think so either. And I think it's the second best situation, and it's the best cover-up story. I'm in Milan for Fashion Week because my son is walking in Philip's show.
Sure.
You don't have to talk about Lisa. All you have to say is that Preston's walking in the show. If you were walking in the show, she probably would have walked out there with a fucking selfie cam so that she could take pictures of herself walking on the runway. Can't do that. That's why Philip didn't let you in his show, because you weren't invited, as we now know, because we figured it out.
Her comments, though, are just wild to me, because she's in a confessional, and the first thing she says, which she offers with nobody asking the question, was, I wasn't sure Preston was going to do a good job. It's like, weird to say. Preston's going to see this. Second thing, they asked the question, would he have gotten here without your help? Fuck no. Sick, Larsa. You're so cool. Your son couldn't do it on his own. What the fuck is that? At the very, if you need to give yourself credit, which of course Larsa does, she needs to give herself credit. I didn't even talk about earlier when she claims to be such a good mom because of the most ho-hum example I've ever heard. This is not like some crazy thing. This happens to parents all the time. But when she's telling it, she's like, this one day, Preston forgot his Spanish book, and I jumped in my Ferrari. All right, name drop, and drove 100 miles an hour to give him his book. That's so good of a mom.
Dangerous. That's dangerous.
Extremely dangerous.
That's a bad mom, actually.
You have to say that you have a Ferrari. Sick, Larsa. Blah. And the fact that you brought your son something that he left at home that he was supposed to have at school. If I had a dime for every time my mom had to bring me something in like middle school because I forgot shit all the time, like that's kind of standard practice for parents. As you're like, oh my God, this idiot forgot this, and you take it to them. She's acting like it makes her mother of the year.
Yeah. I guess because your mom didn't race in her Ferrari at 100 miles an hour and bribe a janitor. Yeah, she's not as good a mom.
What was the other part? She's like, I don't know. That whole story was so dumb.
Yeah.
But they're at like the after party, and that's when Fab joins. He weighs in on this whole topic. He's like, all right, so what's up? And they explain the situation.
Dude, I love
Larsa.
Wait, hold on. We got to do more justice to how he came over there, because he came over and said, I need to check in with the housewives to see where the mess is at. I love that. That is a man that watches Housewives.
He's a viewer.
Fucking love that.
Wait a minute. Should we start spamming him until he comes on the show? Let's start doing that. That would be so fun.
Fuck yeah, I love him.
Me too. That's everybody. If you're listening, tag him in our shit.
Yeah,
please.
Tag him
in the comments. Tag him in our stuff and try to get him on the show. That would be so fucking awesome.
I will prove that I have multiple Fabo songs on multiple playlists for different events that I've got going on, mostly golf.
All right, so that's your job.
Like 3 times.
If you're listening, that's your job, is help us get Fabo on the show. But he weighs into the whole thing. Larsa tells him what's up. Doesn't say it correctly. She always does this. Like, your friend shouldn't hang out with your friend's ex. It's like, yeah, no shit. That's not what's happening, though. So when Lisa explains, I'm not friends with him, my boyfriend is, He goes, oh, well, that's not her. You can't get mad at her. Cut to confessional. Larsa goes, of course, Fabolous. He sided with me. It's like,
rappers are loyal. I know one thing about rappers, and they're so loyal. It's like, come on.
Dude, it was so like he didn't side with you. He sided with Lisa. No. We all heard it. We all saw it. But that is the perfect example of living inside of Larsa's head.
Yes,
she is always right. Always in her mind. God. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What a cameo, though.
Yeah, I was so random. I was not expecting that, but again, just a solid episode, a great episode. Miami's off to a hot start.
You don't want to talk about 1 week later?
Oh yeah, I guess we do need to talk about 1 week later.
Cameras go down. The cameras are down for the night, and it got messy. Apparently, Jody got into it with Larsa, and he was screaming at her. And immediately, and this just tells you everything you need to know, the other housewives sitting at the table say, were his eyes fucking massive? Were his eyes bugging out? Yeah. And that picture, I mean, I use the picture for questions. I'm a little shady. What do you want from me? I'm going to use the picture of Jody. I'm a little messy. What are you going to do? Fabo loves it. But yeah, so it looks like the AC thing is just going to drag on, which no complaints from us. We get to make AC jokes the whole season, brother.
We plan on it too.
We already did. On it. Now we have a reason to do it. It's not just annoying. The fans could get upset, but if we keep talking about it, we're just gonna keep cracking jokes.
Yeah, until we get hit with a cease and desist, and then we'll stop. Yep. But I have a feeling I know what's going to happen. I have a feeling that Larsa's going to paint this whole thing as though Jody's a psychopath, and we're going to get the other side of this thing. And it's going to be like, yeah, Larsa kept antagonizing him, and he finally went off.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate.
Yeah, I just have an inkling that that's the way that this one's going to go. That's the way this cookie's going to crumble. But let's get to some questions.
First up here from Sierra McD. Can Preston be on the show to keep Larsa in check? I don't think I want that.
No, he does. It's not his job. He's
Preston
a kid.
Doesn't have to deal with it.
Yeah, get on with your life. From Max June, should Alexia and Todd stay together? No. That guy's a douche nozzle.
Max also asked if we'd be friends with Larsa. Larsa doesn't have friends, Max.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be her first.
Yeah.
From Kieran McD again. Have you seen a bigger fall off than Julia? Sounded like she abandoned Gertie at dinner. No, It's a bizarre thing to watch, honestly.
She was so just like pleasant. And I know that a lot of the housewives didn't really vibe with her that much because she's a little quirky, but we always enjoyed her. And now it's just like this left turn out of nowhere is just bizarre. And I can't support it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. James 428. I feel like this Jody angle is a real stretch. He's always been slightly awkward on camera. Yeah, he is awkward. We're not saying he's not. It's just, if you give us an opening with AC, we're going to run with it.
Yeah, we're definitely going to run with it. Now, I love that, like, apparently, in Lisa's addressing of the whole AC thing, and then everybody kind of talking about it afterwards. Apparently, Bravo didn't intend on doing it this way. They just wanted to provide some context to what he was doing. It's like, yeah, episode 2, it looks like Bravo's really pushing this one. So you were wrong about that one.
Yeah, and if they're going to push it, then so are we.
From Katrina, did Jody leave the party to do Italian air conditioning? Look, he was missing from the party for a little while. We didn't know where the hell he was. So
we still don't get confirmation about where he was. I imagine next episode will clear that up.
I don't think he needed AC though, because when they got there, Preston did comment on how cold it was. So I don't. There you go. It doesn't really seem like you need AC over there, but maybe he just runs hot. He just needs to cool himself down.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'll do this one for the last one from that girl Courtney. Low key, I needed more Adriana in this episode. Lisa and Larsa cannot be a storyline. I'm okay with Lisa and Larsa being a storyline. Storyline. Not the storyline, because I don't think anybody can really put up with that for the whole time.
No, and Adriana will have her time to shine. I can't have her off the rails this early in the season.
No, we can't have too much of her.
No, it needs to come at the right time.
Yep.
Agreed. When it does happen, it's great for a short amount of time. If it carries on too long, we saw that I think 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was
was
2
kinda
years
like
ago
a
when she
lot.
did that at the reunion when she wrote the note to Marisol's liver. It's
The
like,
note was funny as shit, though. I can't deny
yeah, but
that.
she was coming off of like a 3 episode, which I guess doesn't really matter because they filmed the reunions early, but towards the end of that season, it was too much Adriana, and then she
Yeah,
did
it
that.
was.
Now
It
that we're
was.
2 years removed, it was a funny move, but I remember being at the time like, come on, enough of you. I've had
Yep.
my fail.
Agreed. But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope, all good here.
That's our show. Bros gotta go.